We got shirts on sale. Express your love for the evolutions and the new channel rebrand with an evolution t-shirt and hoodie on sale now. Also, if you like anime, go check out our anime channel Mystic Sage for awesome anime content. And be sure to follow me on social media so you can stay caught up with the channels and me. Links will be in the description below. Man, it's been a while since I have done a worse team, but now we're back after a long hiatus. Black and White 2 are some of my favorite Pokemon games to play due to how many Pokemon are available to use. So I think in making this worst team, we have a lot more new Pokemon to use on a Unova roster, including some really bad ones. I think you guys will enjoy some of these terrible Pokemon I decided to use on this team today. Before we fully get started though, let me explain what a worst team is, and then we can begin. Essentially, the worst team is a team of the worst Pokemon in the region of Unova. It's not going to have 6 Magikarp or anything like that. It'll be a team that is bad, but can still have a shot at actually beating the games. It'll give you a challenge, but it won't be impossible to beat by any means. If it's a pain in the butt, then good. That's the point. As always, I will be providing a moveset for these Pokemon that include TM moves, but will not include post-game tutor moves or egg moves. As always, we will go over a list of important battles that these Pokemon can try their best against. Those important trainers consist of all the gym leaders, Elite Four members, champion, rival, and the evil team leaders. Now for this particular worst team for Unova, it'll only be for Pokemon Black and White 2. Okay, so worst team, bad Pokemon, not an impossible run to beat, that pretty much sums it up. Now we can begin. So starting off, this worst team is by far one of the most despised Pokemon of all time, being Watchog. Like always, on a worst team, we're going to be ditching our starter. Yes, despite the starters in Unova not being all that great, they are still decent. So Patrat will be the first Pokemon we get. Patrat can first be found over on Route 19, literally right next to Aspertia City. So Watchog is your typical generation early normal Pokemon. Out of all the early normal Pokemon, Watchog is definitely the worst. But hey, that works even better for us because it's the worst team. The pluses though are the fact that it has good coverage and it works just as your usual normal type Pokemon. But it's also bad, so you'll struggle a bit, or at least I hope you will. Another plus too is that Watchog actually has fun physical coverage, so that'll help it out too. Speaking of coverage and moves, let's hop into its moveset. For our pseudo starters moveset, we have Crunch, Hyper Fang for decent stab, but replace it later with Return, Ice Punch, and finally Zen Headbutt. Crunch is learned to level 16 when it's a Patrat. Hyper Fang is learned at level 32, and is definitely one of the strongest moves Watchog has. However, you'll want to later replace that with Return once you've grown a stronger bond with Watchog. That TM is given to you by Bianca after defeating Charon. Next, we have a great coverage move in Ice Punch, which is a pre-post-game tutor move that Watchog can learn in Drifell City. You'll need to have 10 red shards to learn this move, and luckily, you won't have to look for them, as there's an NPC in the Nabasa Pokemon Center that gives you that exact amount of shards, so shoutouts to him. And for the final move on Watchog, we have Zen Headbutt, which is another shard tutor move. This time, you'll need to give a man in Lentimus Town 8 blue shards to get this move. You can lose in the World Tournament, try to buy them at Joint Avenue, or use your dowsing machine on so many different routes in an attempt to get them. The latter is probably one of the better ways, so I'd keep some repels handy while you're searching. With these moves, Watchog can do well against Clay's team with Ice Punch, Skyla's Swoobat, Drayden's entire team, Marlin's Jellicent, Hugh's Unpheasant and Superior, Rude's Swoobat, one of the Shadow Triad's Bayonet, Colress's Matang and Beheeyem, Gets's Coffergrigus, Toxicroak and Hydreigon, Chantel's entire team, Marshall's entire team, Grimsey's Crocodile, Caitlin's entire team, and finally Iris's Hydreigon, Dredigan, Archeops, and Haxorus. Yeah, Watchog might be slow to start, but once it gets going, it's actually not half bad. Well, maybe it's half bad because it's on a worse team, but you get what I mean. Up next is the worst team mascot, being Sunkern. Sunkern is the actual worst Pokemon in all existence. I'm not even saying that from a biased standpoint, it actually is. It has base 30 stats across the board. It belongs in the trash can right in Garbodor's core. But hey, being on a horrible team is very befitting of Sunkern, so it works out just fine. Sunkern can be found over on Route 20, which is still before you even hit the mainland of Unova. You get Sunkern in the very beginning of the game still, but when do you actually get the Sunstone to evolve Sunkern? I hope it's early enough. And what do you know, it actually is. You can get the Sunstone early, but you have to deal with Sunkern until you get to Nabasa City, so best of luck with that. The Sunstone can be found in the house above the Pokemon Center on the 2nd floor. Even after you get Sunflora though, it's still horrible and will not give you an easy time on this journey. Base 30 speed still bites, and even with Chlorophyll, it's still a yikes. But hey, at least Sunflora is doing its proper job here at being a bad Pokemon. I have nothing else to say about Sunflora, so let's just move on to the moveset. For Sunflora, we have Energy Ball, Toxic, Leech Seed, and Grass Whistle. Energy Ball is one of the best grass type moves Sunflora can learn, and that TM can be picked up in Aspertia City after you've learned Surf. Until then, just use its standard level up moves. Toxic is here for, well, Toxic Stall. Who would have guessed that? That team can be found pretty late game in Seaside Cave. Next up is Leech Seed, which can be learned by Sunkern at level 13. It's a great move that can benefit this pathetic team by getting anyone out in the field a little bit of health back. Alternatively, if you don't think that's important, you can have Sunflora learn Sunny Day to boost its Energy Ball. That can be learned at level 40, or bought at the Mr. Alton Pokemon Center. Lastly, there's Grass Whistle, which Sunkern learns at level 7. I think this is one of the most important moves on Sunflora, as it will put the opponent to sleep and can allow Sunflora to safely attack or switch out. With these moves, Sunflora can try its best against Clay's Croc and Sandslash, Marlin's entire team, Gets' Seismitoad, Chantel's Golurk, Grimsy's Crocodile, and Iris's Lapras. Just be careful. Yeah, Sunflora really doesn't do a whole lot against most of these Unova trainers. But remember, it's here mostly for stalling and support. Also, it's the worst team. You should all expect this by now. I don't know what I was thinking when I wanted to use this Pokemon on the team. It's just a knockoff of Chansey and doesn't deserve its Mega Evolution. But anywho, due to it being a dumpster fire, hey, we can use it here. Where you find Audino is honestly up to you. You can pick it up anywhere you want on your journey, as you can find it pretty much almost anywhere. The earliest it seems you can get it is Route 20, where you first get Sunkern. Don't forget too, that you can't find Audino just by walking around. You have to wait until the grass starts shaking. So locating Audino is pretty easy, but trying to come up with a moveset is difficult because of how wide a move pool it has. It has basic C attack and special attack, so you can honestly use whatever attacks you want because both stats are terrible. None are really going to make a difference. The good thing is though, it is a normal Pokemon, so the possibilities are endless, but it's still terrible, which is perfect. So now, let's move on to the moveset. Audino's moveset consists of Return, Psychic, Shadow Bolt, and Thunderbolt. As is the case with all these normal type Pokemon with huge coverage opportunities, we're running all TMs here. First is Return for normal stab. It might not be good right off the bat, so just use Secret Power or Takedown until the time is right. This TM once again is given to you by Bianca after you defeat Charon. Next up is Psychic, a nice 90 base power move. This TM can be found on Route 13. Following that is Shadow Ball, a beautiful 80 base power move with a 20% chance to lower the opponent's special defense. This TM can be found at Reversal Mountain beyond the Strange House. Finally, there's Thunderbolt, another fantastic 90 base power move that has a 10% chance to paralyze the opponent. This TM can be found on Victory Road once you've beaten Hugh. With these moves, Audino can do well against Marlin's Jellicent, one of the Shadow Triad's Bayonet, Chorus's Metang and Behem, Gets' Cofagrigus and Toxicroak, Chantel's entire team, Marshall's entire team, Caitlin's entire team, and finally Iris's Archeops and Lapras. Audino might have access to great coverage, but it's no Snorlax. It's slow to start and doesn't cover as many of the battles in Unova as I'd like. However, I can say that I feel it is the Snorlax of worst teams, so I guess that counts for something. Moving on to the next Pokemon on the team is actually a Pokemon I genuinely like, being Sandslash. Putting Sandslash on this team is a double-edged sword. I get to give it exposure, but I also have to talk bad about it, so it kinda saddens me. I can say though that Sandslash is pretty cute and you should like it, and if you don't, well then you suck. But bias aside, it gets shafted by a lot of other ground-type Pokemon in Black and White too, mainly being Flygon and Crocodile. Flygon and Crocodile all have better stats and just perform better than our poor boy Sandslash. But we need a ground-type Pokemon for Unova, and I think Sandslash is the perfect worst choice. Sandshrew can be found in the Desert Resort at a decent encounter rate. You can get it at around level 20, and it evolves into Sandslash at level 22. So you get Sandslash within 2 levels of when you capture it, which is a huge break if we compare that to Sunkern. One positive aspect I can say about Sandslash in regards to its performance is that it's probably one of the best Pokemon on this team. It's got 100 base attack, 110 base defense, and 65 speed. Those stats, in comparison to other stats on this team we have seen so far, look like an Olympic performance. So props to Sandslash for being one of the best carriers on this team. Sandslash has quite the moveset, consisting of Earthquake, Rock Slide, Slash, and X-Scissor. Earthquake's TM is actually post-game in the sequels, but fear not, as Sandslash can actually learn Earthquake at level 46. Until then, just use your level up ground type moves, and then bulldoze once you defeat Clay. Next up is Rock Slide, which will help us out a lot against all the flying, ice, and fire types we'll be seeing throughout the game. That team can be found in Mr. Alton Cave. Just use Rollout until then. Next up is Slash, which is really only here because of that high crit rate. That move will be learned at level 26. For its last move, we have X-Scissor, a powerful 80 base power bug type attack. That team can be found on Route 7. With these moves, Sandslash can do well against Elena's entire team, Clay's Excadrill, Scala's entire team, Hugh's entire team aside from Bouffalant, Rude's Swoobat, all the Shadow Triad's Pokemon, Zinzalon's entire team, Chorus's entire team, Gets' Drapion and Toxicroak, Chantel's Drifblim and Chandelure, Grimsley's team aside from Scrafty, Caitlin's entire team, and finally Iris's Archeops, Aggron, and Lapras. Just be careful. Sandslash actually actually puts in quite a bit of work and is a contender for this worst team's MVP. It might be slow and not considerably bulky, but it can definitely pack a punch given the right moves. It is a worse team in Unova, so I figured I would have to talk about this Pokemon eventually. I swear every time I ever have to talk about the elemental monkeys, I want to pull my hair out. More so than the others, the elemental monkey I hate the most is Simisear. Its design, the stupid smile, and a plethora of other reasons make me hate it so much. This video, though, is the perfect place for me to vent my frustrations without fear of backlash, because it is being intentionally put on a horrible team, so I can just say it's for the purpose of the video. Venting aside, though, Pansear can be picked up in the Losthorn Forest, which is to the right of Nimbasa City. To evolve Pansear into Simisear, one first must obtain a Firestone. The earliest Firestone, from what I can see, can be obtained at the Desert Resort as a hidden item. Looking up a video is probably your best bet, though, because trying to explain it is a little tricky. If you don't want that one, there can be one found at Lentimas Town, which can be found on the upper cliff behind the Pokemon Center. Getting Simisear isn't that tricky, so I guess that is one of the more positive aspects I can say about this evolution line. Another small positive aspect of Simisear is that it does have good stats and a semi-viable move pool. It pains me to say positive things about this Pokemon, but all in all, it's not that bad for an in-game team, but there are still way better Fire-type Pokemon options. For various reasons, we have changed Simisear's moveset, but the basic formula for it is still there. We have Flamethrower, Superpower, Rock Slide, and Acrobatics. Flamethrower is here, naturally, because it is one of the best fire moves this Pokemon can learn. Alternatively, you could go with Incinerate, Fire Blast, or Flame Burst, but I just think Flamethrower is the best route to go this time around. That TM is found really late game on Route 23, so just use any of those other moves I just listed until then. Superpower is next and is only on here because Brick Break and Focus Blast are both post-game, unfortunately. This move can be taught by the Lentimas move tutor for 10 blue shards. Alternatively, you could go for Iron Tail for only 6 blue shards, but just be aware of the abysmal accuracy. Next up is Rock Slide, and that's just here for additional coverage. Once again, that TM is found in Mistralton Cave. Lastly, we have Acrobatics, which is honestly just a fun move for it to have, especially since it'll be base 110 as we're running no items. That move is actually learned via level up on Pansear at level 31, so just don't go evolving it too early. With these moves, Simisear can do well against Clay's Excadrill with Acrobatics, but be super careful, Scala's entire team, Hugh's entire team, the Shadow Triad's Pawniard and Absol, Zinzalon's entire team, Colress's Magneton, Metang, Magnezone, and Klinklang, Gets' Toxicroak and Hydreigon, Chantel's Drifblim and Chandelure, Marshall's entire team, Grimsley's entire team, Caitlyn's Sigilith, and finally Iris's Hydreigon, Archeops, Aggron, and Lapras. But you're definitely going to need to be careful on most of those. Simisear is not good, but all things considered, it's actually not horrible either. It might be one of the most disliked Pokemon of all time, but on a team like this, I guess there's plenty of love for the guy. Coming up next is a Pokemon I do not want to put here, but I don't have a choice because we need a flyer and a water Pokemon. Swanna is the Pokemon I am choosing. I hate to do it because Swanna is actually not that bad, but it's here because of convenience. Swanna has great stats and a fun move pool as well. You can get Ducklet at the Driftfell Drawbridge at around levels 23 to 26. It's a 2 birds 1 stone kind of Pokemon, water and flying type. You need a flyer and a surfer, Swanna will do that job. It's only here for convenience though. I don't think it's inherently bad. Without Swanna, we wouldn't have room for Pokemon like Synflora to be with us. So thank you, Swanna, for taking one for the team. If anything, I'm still giving you exposure, and more people should enjoy you after watching this. Lastly, the moveset we have in our Flyer and Surfer naturally consist of Fly and Surf, followed by Ice Beam and Brave Bird. Fly is here because we need easy transportation as usual. The HM is given to you by Bianca on Route 5. Surf is the other form of transportation we need, and that HM is given to you by Charon on Route 6. Ice Beam and Water types go together like peanut butter and jelly, and that TM can be found in the Giant Chasm. Finally, we have Brave Bird, which is just here because it's an ultra powerful stab attack. That move can be learned at level 47. If you don't like losing health, however, you can always go for Air Slash or Aerial Ace. Finally, with these moves, Swanna can do well against Clay's entire team, Hughes on Pheasant, Simisear, and Superior, Gets' Toxicroak and Hydreigon, Chantel's Driftblim, Golurk, and Chandelure, Marshall's entire team, Grimsley's Scrafty and Crocodile, Caitlyn's Sigilith, and finally Iris' entire team aside from her Lapras. Gotta say, Swanna really does come in clutch at the end. I just wish you could get it a little sooner. Well, that's going to do it for this Unova Worst team. I just need to mention really quick that the first 3 gym leaders were not mentioned at all. Well, that's because you won't have any super effective moves when you first face off against them. Fortunately, they're all pretty easy, so you should be fine. If you want, you could pick up Padub to use against Berg's team, but I just don't really think that's necessary. Anyhow though, what did y'all think of this video? Did I make the best worst team possible, or do you think it could be even worse? Let me know in the comments below. If you enjoyed the video, why not leave a like and subscribe to my channel with notifications on, that way you never miss an upload. If you want to support me further, consider following my Twitch where I stream a lot of Pokemon content and all kinds of other Nintendo content like Zelda, Fire Emblem, and much more. Also, I've been reviewing every episode of My Hero Academia Season 4 over on Mystic Sage, so head over there if you're into that too. I would love that a lot. Want to support me further in game called perks? Check out my Patreon. Daniel Leone, Lady Crimson, Memory Martin, The Lazy Leo, Matthew Young, Awesome Lego, Jarrett Weiss Austin, Sodden Grider, Nigma97, and Kermit117 did, and I want to thank them personally for going above and beyond. It means the world to me. I think I'm gonna wrap this up though. I'm MysticUmbreon, and I will see you in the future for more awesome Pokemon content.